Welcome back to the Boondoggle Tapes, a collection of recorded phone calls, emails, and journal entries of Sarah Boone, convicted of murdering her fiancé by zipping him up in a suitcase and leaving him to die. The journal excerpts presented in this video are the personal writings and statements of Sarah Boone. The information contained in these entries has not been independently verified, corroborated, or admitted as evidence in court. Viewers are advised to interpret this content with caution and an understanding that it reflects one party's unproven narrative. The Boondoggle Tapes are meant to spark real conversations about justice, incarceration, and mental health. Today's episode was created for a mature audience and viewer discretion is advised.
After a terrible year, including getting divorced, I decided to use some of my settlement money on a staycation for George and I at the Gaylord Palms. We would stay a night in this beautiful hotel, then go to ICE for Christmas. My gift to us, and I knew he had never been. I started planning weeks before budgeting, researching prices, package deals, and found one that even included a souvenir photo. It totaled about $450, so I booked the night. Then, with this being our first getaway, I even went online and picked out some lingerie to bring. I knew we were going to have such a good time and was really looking forward to going. George was too. When the time came, we packed and checked in. The hotel was amazing with all the lights and decorations. Neither of us could believe how big the hotel was. We went to our room, made some drinks, and discussed where we wanted to start looking around at everything. We were in awe of everything, stopping to really look, take pictures, enjoying the time together, going to different bars, sitting, laughing, talking. I was happy George was having fun. I was too. The night went on, and with the lights, the amazingness of the hotel, drinking and no stress, it was going to be a good evening, I thought, especially when we got back to the room as he didn't know I had the lingerie. We ended up at the Sailboat Bar. My friend highly recommended, and yes, it was really neat where you could sit on the deck of the boat, which is surrounded by water in the open hotel. For some reason, George wanted to sit inside where the regular restaurant was, so we did, all the way in the back. I couldn't even really see the outside. The whole point in going to this particular place, not even 20 minutes into being there and having a round of drinks, my brother and his girlfriend walk in, heading our way. We both thought, ugh, what are the chances? Same night, time, place. All we wanted to do was spend time with each other, especially not with them. They sat down, we talked, ordered more drinks, some appetizers, and his girlfriend kept wanting to go smoke outside, and my brother kept wanting me to go with her, so I did, like 5 times. After I got tired of talking to her and wanted George. Each time we went in, George and my brother would be laughing, loud. I figured they were having a good time and saw my brother ordering them tequila shots with multiple shots of empty glasses already on the table. I could tell my brother had been drinking with how obnoxious he was, and George looked it in his face, and I knew what tequila does to both of them. I didn't care about his stupid girlfriend or hanging out with them anymore. I sat down next to George, and he had a bad attitude towards me and was being standoffish. I could tell he was drunk and had no idea what all my brother had told him for his attitude to change like it did. I kept telling my brother I wanted to spend time with George. This was our time, and I paid a lot of money for our trip together. I kept trying to get George to get up and come with me, get out of the back of the bar, and sit on the deck, or at least go to another restaurant to get away from them. George wasn't leaving. He said he wanted to finish talking with my brother so he could find out more about my bullshit, lying, and how crazy I am. I had no idea what was said or what my brother was telling him. I asked one more time for us to go, and I got a fuck you. And I knew he was drunk and now mean, spending more time with my asshole brother over me after all I did to get us here and the money I spent. I said I was going to look around by myself and was leaving. He did nothing, so I went and paid our tab and walked off. I figured he couldn't drink anymore unless my brother paid. I went and walked around the hotel by myself for a little while, then started to realize not many people were out and places were closing. It had to be late, so I went back to the room. He wasn't there. My fear he was still with my brother or got lost from being too drunk. I called my brother's cell a couple of times, and he said George wasn't with them. I decided to wait in the room and put on the lingerie as a surprise, possible deterrent, knowing that he wasn't happy I left the bar, hoping it may ease his anger. I put the room robe on and sat on the bed, watching TV. Eventually, he came back and was super drunk, as I had to open the door for him. He couldn't get the key card to work. I let him in, and he said I was up to something. Why would I take him here? Why was I with him? My brother supposedly told him everything. And then he got a drink and sat on the bed. I asked if he was okay, and where did he go? What did my brother say? He threw the glass and yelled, "Where did you go? You fucking left me. I told you, never leave me." I tried reiterating earlier to him, but he grabbed me by the arm, pulling at the robe, asking why I was wearing it, then pulled it off my shoulders, then all the way off, throwing it across the room between the bed and the wall. He accused me of being with someone. That's why I left. That's why I was wearing the lingerie. I was such a fucking whore. Things got very hostile very fast. He threw me on one of the beds, getting on top of me, pinning my arms, and slapped me on the side of the face, saying he knows I'm up to something. Why did I bring him here? I can never afford this. Are you fucking your ex-husband? He completely destroyed my outfit and even kept tearing at it when it was off. I tried to get the robe, but he grabbed me by my legs, where I held on the side of the bed, not letting go. He kept yanking my legs, then climbed on my back, forcing my hands to let go. He picked me up by my hair and threw me into the wall across the room. I lay there naked crying, so he would stop. I was in shock and hurt all over. He tore up the room, throwing dice, cards, dominoes, clothes, anything he could grab. He laid across one of the beds and instantly passed out. I gave it a few minutes, then slowly got up, making sure he was asleep, found my clothes, grabbed my keys and phone, collected what I could of mine and put in the suitcase, assessed the room. It was trashed, then quietly left, got in my car and drove home, shaking, crying in the middle of the night. I was afraid the hotel would call about the disruption and noise and the cleanup and repairs necessary. I didn't care how he got home and the disbelief he would be in when he woke up to the destroyed room, my lingerie shredded and me not there. I was still so shocked he did that after I did all I did for us to have a memorable, nice time, and the money I spent, over $750 after food, drink, souvenirs, to be treated like that, him accusing me constantly about cheating on him, and I can never leave him. I remember getting home, loving my dogs, and getting in the bed to sleep. I was home, safe, alone. George called the next day and left a voicemail after waking up with me not there, worried if I was okay, and when I was coming back to the room, even asked me to bring him breakfast with specifics, eggs, bacon, sausage. If they can make an omelet, yeah, he'd like that. 2 more voicemails asking where I was, saying he's waiting in the room. He's sorry for whatever may have happened. About 20 minutes passed, and he called again from his brother John's phone while driving after being picked up, cursing at me, saying he couldn't believe I left him. I'm a fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. I was just glad he was okay and hopefully not coming here. Apparently, he went to his brother's or parents' for days. Another time, I packed up what he had at the house and texted his brothers, telling them his stuff was on the porch, all of it. A few hours later, George and his dad came and got everything. I watched from the kitchen window secretly and heard him saying how sorry he was, hoping I'd hear from the bedroom, thinking that's where I was. They got his stuff and left. A few days passed with no communication. Then, one morning I woke to let the dogs out, and a bouquet of flowers was on the porch table. I figured it was George, as the flowers are the same as what's in his parents' yard, a huge tree of them. I bumped into the property manager, and she asked me if I was enjoying my pretty flowers. I asked her how she knew, and she told me a couple neighbors called and told her they saw George walking about to my apartment with the flowers. I didn't do anything to get in touch with George in any way. Days passed, and he would leave things on the porch. Once it was a bird feeder, another time a plant. He would ride his bike to see if I was home. He would ride through the back grass to see if I was on the porch, just showing up, and I'd tell him to leave me alone, then I would go inside. He'd ride on the trail, stopping at my apartment, and stand on his bike to see over the wall. Again, I would tell him to leave me alone, and I would go inside. I got to the point where I'd park across the street and make sure I was inside when he got off work, 1 p.m., and pull the blinds to really make it seem like I wasn't home. My son and I would make a game of it peeking through the blinds downstairs and from his room watching George and laughing. It was less stress and fear with George living at his parents'. My son and I were really enjoying our time together, and just me when my son went to my ex-husband's. It had been almost 2 weeks when George caught me outside walking around the side of the apartment. He begged me to listen to what he had to say. I told him I was happy and not interested in getting back together. I don't want to deal with the fights, the drinking, the beatings, the stress, everything. Everyone is different, lighter, happier when he's not here. Even the dogs are happier. I have not missed him. He had the same excuses telling me he can't live without me, how depressed he was, doesn't smile. He's sorry. I told him he has no one else to promise on, his kids, mother, father, brothers. It makes no difference, ever. He's always going to be the lying weasel as he has been. He swore he would change, do anything. He said he misses me and my son. I told him it was always the same bullshit that would last a week or so, and he would revert back to his old shitty self. He got on his knees, pleading not to leave him. I told him I had to go get my son, come by in a few days. When he came over, he had all these ideas, getting a better job, which I got him, then he got fired. Going to church, classes, whatever he could do. He won't move back in for now. We are just taking it day by day. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, believing him, being hopeful, still thinking he would be the man he promised to be, and I knew he could be. I'd seen a glimpse. We worked on things together, but always came down to alcohol. He'd be mad I wouldn't want to drink, then the vicious cycle all over again.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Boondoggle Tapes. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. We are grateful for your support and wish everyone a beautiful holiday. Thank you from the Third Rail.